There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
We back in the game.
Okay, let me
Okay,
share this.
cool. So y'all can go ahead. Y'all can go ahead and share this. It may look. It may look. It is my chili wine, man. Okay. You shared it.
Yeah, I'm sharing it. It won't let me share it to my page though. I don't know why.
I don't think it'll. Hold on.
I'm my camera black.
Not you sit in the shade and your camera black. All right, let's get this. So,
Yeah.
so y'all listen. I'm just gonna start off by saying today was a rough day. Last night was a rough night, but I'm here. We made it. We made it back in effect. So this event was called Turning Your Anger into Power, and a lot of y'all that read it, y'all know I've been putting this together for the past couple months now. So we got our guest speaker Kay. Tell them what it is you do, Kay.
How y'all doing? I'm on the Beauty in Her Bed collections. Writer, positive thinker, positivity enthusiast. Anything that's gonna help us elevate, get to where we need to be. Don't look at my address.
Come on, those my address.
Yeah, anything that's gonna help us elevate me in life. Getting rid of all that stagnant negative energy that's not helping
Mhm.
us.
What this conversation was a couple months ago. Listen, I'm just gonna start off by saying today was a rough day. Last night was a rough night, but I'm here. We made it. We made it back in effect. So this event was called Turning Your Anger into Power, and a lot of y'all that read it, y'all know I've been putting this together for the past couple months now. So we got our guest speaker Kay. Tell them what it is you do, Kay.
How y'all doing? I'm on the Beauty in Her Bed collections. Writer, positive thinker, positivity enthusiast. Anything that's gonna help us elevate, get to where we need to be. Don't look at my address.
Come on, those my address.
Yeah, anything that's gonna help us elevate and get to where we need to be in life. Getting rid of all that stagnant negative energy that's not helping
Mhm.
us. Getting rid of the lack mindset. Um, really just focusing on the mindset when you're getting through things, practicing resilience, practicing strength. Because a lot of times we go through things and we might go through the same things, but we might not come out the same way. We might not look at things the same way as far as what these things are trying to teach us, or as far as going through things to get to where we need to be.
Mhm.
So I'm really just all about fixing the mindset, because pain and all that stuff is inevitable, but it's about how you deal with these things, because we are going through stuff.
Exactly. So I created this. I'm happy to share because I created this. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Um, I created this event for individuals that was necessarily looking for a way to figure out the title itself. The title speaks for itself, okay?
Exactly.
The title speaks for
Proof is in
itself,
the pudding.
okay? Because a lot of us are angry. But I think what made me come up with this conversation was a couple months ago. Some of y'all may know my brother was killed back in October, and somebody asked me, okay, well, how do you necessarily get over that, and still do what you do every day, and still get up and make yourself available to the world and to your kids, and you know what I'm saying, when you're grieving and when you angry and you feel stagnant. And I had to tell her, that was a good question. So for these past couple months, I've been discovering that question. I said, you know what? When I found out the answer, I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and try to get this out to the public, right? So I
Mhm.
before I go into that, I kind of want to go into depth about how I figured out when and how to shift my mindset from being angry into figuring out how to use that, use the ideology of let's let's not be so attached to my anger. Let me do something with this, right?
Right.
Um, so I do got some questions for you, Miss Mama,
Okay.
Miss Mama, because I'm gonna say what I gotta say, but I really need to. So for starters, I do want to ask, like, what emotional, what emotional barriers do you think comes with it's okay, we're gonna keep the party rolling. Um, what emotional barriers did you think you had to get past to, move forward in your trial and errors? Like what did you feel like you had to learn to get to that next step?
The biggest one for me was personally accepting the fact that I was even going through stuff.
Mm,
Because for a lot of us, well, for me personally, it wasn't the fact that I was in denial. It was the fact of I was trying to push it out my mind. Like you know, it don't
yeah,
matter. I get through it or whatever. But I wasn't really putting the energy and the thought into the fact of, okay, I'm going through something. What exactly am I going through? And
yeah,
what is this trying to show me? Not just I'm going through something, my life is in shambles, all this extra stuff. But it
mhm,
takes for you to get through the fact of to the fact of that you're going through something, accepting that first, and then analyzing what you're going through. Because a lot of times the cards that we dealt with, we don't get to reshuffle, or we don't get to say, okay, I'm going through this. I don't want to deal with this no more. You're going through something, you have to deal with that
yeah,
until you're not dealing with it anymore. You can't
yeah,
hide it or act like you don't see it. You have to analyze it and figure out how you're going to get through it.
mm,
So accepting was the first step, and then anger, just the fact that I'm going through it. I can't change it. So what am I angry about it for? I'm going
yeah,
through it. Now I got to figure out how I'm gonna get through it. So when you angry, the first thing you want to do is you want to blame it on everybody else. You want to get mad at the world. You want to put all your stuff. You want to project it on others when really you're the only one that's going through it.
yeah,
So once you accept what you're going through and you get through the anger and the pain of going through that, now you have to realize, okay, this not going nowhere. There's gonna be a never ending cycle until I figure out how I'm gonna break the cycle.
Right. That part.
So once you get through the feelings of anger, sadness, confusion, we all go through confusion because we're going through it, but our mind can't fathom the fact that this is even happening to us for us to understand how to move forward.
Mhm.
So once you get through the anger, the pain, the confusion, then you can sit down and break down what you need to go through to accomplish getting through these hard times or to accomplish the goals that you're trying to reach.
Mhm. Yeah. You're right. You're right. Um, I agree with that because that's the first step, that accountability, right? And I don't think that a lot of people take into consideration, like, hey, I'm grieving right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find a way to, because you can't emotionally process grieving. Let's just get that out the way.
Exactly.
You can't emotionally process that in a timely fashion that you want to, because you still, like I said before, you still have to get up and you still got to cater to other things that need your attention,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I think the first step is what you said too, like identifying what my emotional, stance is right now. Like, yo, I'm not feeling this, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then the next question should be, okay, how do we move forward? What do we do with this? Why do we? Because eventually you end up growing with the traumas and with the pain and with the emotions. You just get better, though they may never leave. You just
Mm-hmm.
constantly evolve, with that. But for me, it was kind of like, I don't want to stay in this position. Like, I'm tired of feeling like this. So it's like when you tired of feeling some type of way, and like body, self, mind, spirit, and soul knows
You feel that
that
feeling.
you
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 know you
feel
don't want
it's
to go
time for
back
you.
up.
Yeah, it's time
You
for
don't
you
want to
to,
feel that no more.
and
So
even
at
though
that
some
point,
days, huh?
I was gonna say I ain't mean to cut you off. I was gonna say at that point when you figure out you don't want to feel that way no more, then you ask yourself, okay, now that I know what I know, how do I go from here? How do I make sure that I don't go back to that place that I was just at? How do I make sure I'm not in a place of poverty anymore, in a place of depression or anger and sadness? So it's just like
But not, I didn't mean to cut you off either.
I'm listening.
But when you go into, y'all, me and Kay be having these conversations like this all the time. This ain't no, we just talking like we regularly on the phone. But we got to be careful with the how do we want to move after that, because let the setbacks, okay, let's be
Mhm.
real, because we got setbacks. So some days you do, and you are gonna feel like that, right? So what do you do to get up out of that? Like for me, when I feel that way, it's more so I have to take a step back and breathe, and I do things that make me value myself again and know, like, okay, let me validate these feelings. Let me validate these emotions. Like, yes, I am hurt. Yes, I am grieving. Yes,
Because
I
they
am
are
sad.
real. They
Yes, and they
definitely
are real.
real.
And the reason why they keep coming back is because you have not processed that emotion yet, and you trying to keep it so bottled up inside. Like, hey, no,
Or trying to act like it's not
trying to act
bothering,
like it's
like
not
it's not
bothering
there.
you.
Now, in your mind, not you personally, but in a average person's mind, it might not bother you because it's not making you cry anymore. It's not
Yeah,
irritating you anymore or anything like that. But deep down inside, it's still a part of your life that you have to acknowledge and work
that's
on.
my point. Mm-hmm.
Because the more you bottle it up or the more you try to act like it's not bothering you, it's going to keep coming to the surface. And it's going to
Mm-hmm.
keep coming out and it's going to keep manifesting in different ways until you finally get the message of, hey, okay, I don't want to feel like this no more. Or I don't want to go through this now. It's one thing for you to have a plan of action of what you want to do as far as healing yourself or as far as getting through these certain situations. But it's another thing to actually roll with the flow of life. Because, like you said, it's one thing for us to have that idea of what we want to do, but things happen. You could
Yeah,
have this plan one day and then you get hit with something else, and now you got to figure out how you finna recover from that and the last thing that just happened. So it's not the fact of actually the whole healing process is not an overnight thing. It's not just
mm,
one linear project. This is something that's forever
never ending.
going on because your forever evolving.
Mhm.
So if you're going through these changes and you think you're just supposed to keep doing the same things or keep trying the same solutions, it's not
Mhm.
going to work like that. You have to try things. You have to try new things. You have to see things from different ways. You have to change your perspective as
Yeah.
far as things that are going on in your life, because these situations are going to keep happening, but they're going to keep happening in different ways, different situations, and different people.
Yeah.
But you have to see the message for yourself in order for you to put two and two together and figure out, okay, this is what's going on. This is what I need to work on.
Yeah. 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 So let me ask you this: does being now we going into turning that into your power now? Now let's shift the focus on how exactly me and you did that. Because I know we talked about so many times. Like, hey, even when I started our spirit group, our little group chat on Messenger, that was one of my ways of turning into
Mm-hmm.
the things that I felt into my power. Because um man, it's so much, y'all. It's so much. But you know, with part one, we got a part two. So let me ask you this. Do you think that do you think that being self-aware about who you are helps you tap into your limitless potential?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Like, do you feel like when you know who you are, does that help you tap into like your limitless potential? Because I know, like for me, knowing who I am, sometimes the world will probably try to make me feel as if I'm not that when really
If you're
I'm
less
that.
than or try to
Yeah, and I
value
be
you for
having to
wanting better
remind
for
like,
yourself. And
mm-mm.
that's how I feel. I feel like for me personally, I see how this is affecting my life and how it's manifested in different areas. So I want to get it together as far as how I handle certain situations and how I go about the course of action. So usually for me, it's like I notice that I'm talented. I observe a lot of things, and I'm very self-aware as far as my emotions and as far as my actions.
Mhm.
So I try to keep myself on track as far as, okay, Khadraya, what are you doing that needs to? What are you doing? I'm sorry. Let me put this on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear
I'm
me?
yeah. I'm getting a hot with this jacket. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
It's
Can you hear me?
it's breaking up.
I think that's your connection because when you moved in the house, it kind of shifted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It's breaking up. Still.
Man, it's okay. It's cool. It's cool. We just having a little technical difficulty, but as so
And I
far,
have a I had a question for you. Since
yeah. 10. I'm gonna put it on charge. I'm gonna put it on charge. What was your question? I'm sorry.
I was gonna ask, as an entrepreneur, what made you
I'm listening.
can you hear me?
Yeah. Now I can't. It had. I don't know if it went out. Child. Okay, y'all.
Hear me now? You hear
Yeah.
me? Okay.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
question for you was, as an entrepreneur, what pushed you out of your comfort zone And how did you adapt to getting pushed out your comfort zone?
That's a tricky. It's a tricky question, but it's a good question. Um, I don't. I think my whole life I was getting pushed out of my comfort zone. So, like I asked you before, like when you know who you are, it can help you tap into your potential a little bit more. Because now, hey, that's a good question. That's a good question. For me, it's always hard sometimes. Just even again because I know who I am and I know like my mental health and I know
Yeah.
what triggers me emotionally, physically, spiritually, and soulfully. I know what triggers me, so I think it's all about just knowing the stuff that like it's gonna take me there, right?
Yeah.
But when I know like I'm trying to get to a new level and I ask God like take me to these levels, I know when I ask him that and I say that I am this or I am that, I know a new level is about to come out and it's not going to be easy. So all the things that I used to do and that I was doing, I know that I probably won't do that anymore. So I kind of got to mentally prepare myself for that. As far as entrepreneur, this road ain't easy.
Not
It's
at all.
never easy. It's never easy when you're doing it by yourself. Um, you don't really have too much help and guidance.
Yeah.
And then you starting from scratch, and then I'm young on top of that. It's not like I just, have my whole life. I didn't live. I'm still young doing this, right? So it was really just changing that perspective over. Like my main, I think the main thing that brought me to do what I do is because growing up, like I was actually, um, I was actually an angry kid, but I was also a night like I was a good kid, but I was so angry, like
Yeah.
all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time, right? So I knew like, okay, I have to. My purpose is to do something for others out there that feel the same way that I feel, and we got to find a way to learn how to nurture these powers and nurture these things. Because if I don't believe in myself, I can't do nothing.
How can you expect for somebody else to
If I
believe?
can't believe in my powers, I can't do nothing. I wouldn't expect people. I'm not gonna expect people to come and support me when I can't even show up for myself. So it
Mm-hmm.
was kind of like that growth is always needed in some area and aspect for any human. Because without that, everybody would be stagnant, pretty much.
Definitely.
So you always need that. I don't like people who. I'm not saying I don't like. Let me rephrase that. I'm not too fond of being around people who don't understand like when they're shifting. So
Yeah.
when you ask for something and it's time and you feeling uncomfortable, that's
They're
when you
gonna
ready.
make
That's
you.
that's
They're
the
gonna make
shift.
you uncomfortable so
That's
that
the
you can get what
shift.
you asked before.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's the shift. So you gotta just know when it's time for you to shed. It's time for me to shed because now you done being planted. So now it's like, okay, let me go ahead and let me start shifting. Let me, and it's not gonna be easy like that in the beginning, because at first it's scary, and at first we
Mm-hmm.
don't know. But as
And
you
then it's
start
gonna come
moving,
unexpectedly just to test you and see if you're ready for what
yeah,
you're asking for.
yeah. So I always just tell people, just chill out and go within. Yeah, man, I can't say as
And
much as
that's
I want to say
crazy.
on this live.
That's crazy because that was gonna be my next question. So, from knowing what you know now, what would you tell your younger self about dealing with the roller coasters of life?
Ooh, I got like, I got a book. I will give her a book because it's crazy because I talk to my younger self every day, and because she is innocent. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody needs to go back to their younger self and talk to them because that younger you was pure, it's innocent. It wasn't exposed to. A child is the purest form of love, is the purest form of curiosity, is the purest form of knowledge, the purest form of everything. So it's
Hmm.
like when I go back and I talk to her, I think I would tell her to um not take stuff so seriously because it's a lot of things that I was tripping on, or I still do kind of trip on. Sometimes
Hmm.
I'll be like, baby, ugh,
It ain't even worth it.
no. Because again, like I said, I used to be angry. Like a lot of stuff would make me angry. Like literally, I would be so angry. And I would have told her like to learn how to process how you feeling. And
Yeah.
don't be afraid to say it. If somebody doesn't like what I say, okay, that's fine, that's cool. You don't have to feel how I feel. Just know I'm letting you know how I feel. If you choose to, still do what you do on top of that, hey, that's you,
Hmm.
you know? Because I would get upset. I would get upset, emotionally upset when people, if I told you how I felt and you still, it's like,
You
okay.
overlook it or
Yeah, and I'll be so mad at them. It's just like they don't have the emotional strength that it takes to probably even endure what I'm saying or how I feel. So that's cool. That's your own little personal issue you can work on. But I'm not gonna waste my energy um getting upset with that. So yeah. So I think this is a good one. I gotta ask you, what do you think pushes you to find your purpose and why?
what pushes me to find my purpose is the fact that, like we said before, I felt the way I felt back
Mm-hmm.
then, and I know for myself personally, that's the place where I never want to go back to. All the depression, the sadness, the
Mm,
confusion, the why is my life like this? Why am I here? Why am I going through this? All that is what pushes me to not only look within myself to see what I need to work on,
mm-hmm.
and what pushes me to look at the world differently, because everything is not as it seems. So if you going through life and you just feel like woe is me and life is happening to you instead of for you, then what you think is what will occur. So for me personally, I feel like by shifting my mindset, that's what keeps me going, because I know it's something on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Or once I get done going through these things, that's gonna push me at least get my foot in the door to what I need or what I want.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my motivation for things, as far as just wanting better for myself and wanting better for others. Because usually I'm the person who's always there for other people, or overextending myself, or just giving more energy to others than I give to myself.
Yeah, that part. That part.
But now I'm using my power to not only heal myself and fill my cup up, but once my cup is filled, then I'm able to help others in a healthy manner instead of how I used to, which is just draining myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think whew, that was a good answer, girl.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know
My
what.
little my little AirPod down. I'm probably gonna take these out so I can hear
I
you.
don't know what's going on with this signal.
Girl, it's okay. We gonna edit
Don't make
this,
it do what it do.
make it do what it do, baby.
Don't
Okay?
make it do what it do.
We gonna make it do what it do. Um, for me, it's more so in that aspect. My purpose. It's crazy because I've been around my purpose my whole life. Didn't, I didn't know, I didn't know, like how to actually fulfill that
Hmm.
because I didn't have it telling me, yeah, I could do this and I could be this. And so we talk about that environmental space, um, and being
Hmm.
around your upbringing. I didn't have a whole bunch of I didn't see. Like, don't get me wrong, it's people in my family that are successful, but I'm talking about in like my intermediate family. I didn't see a whole lot of that going on. It was okay. You can do it if you want to. If you really want to do it, you can do it. And that was my
Right.
motivation. But that for me then that wasn't enough. But now that I'm older, it's like okay, I get what you're saying because I can really do this if I really put my mind to it and I really want to. Because that's the first step of learning and knowing power is believing. And a lot of people be like, "Well,
Mm-hmm.
I believe this." You do, but you don't believe it hard enough.
Exactly.
You're not putting in the tools you need to really believe that.
Because
You're
it's one
not.
thing. Because what they used to say, you gotta have the faith of a mustard seed, but really, you really need more than that. Because you can have the faith that something is gonna happen, but if you don't have the action behind it, if you don't have the
Hmm.
actual,
That part. And and I think that that's that. I think that's what did it for me. Like knowing, hey, it's people out there that feel like me. Cause I know that I'm a deeper thinker on another perspective. I just can't get too deep right now because this is literally I gotta say that juice for the next
for the
for the
next.
next sauce. It's so many much more of these that I'm doing. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Um, so yeah, back to what I was saying, my purpose. I knew that I grew up angry, right? I'm a shorty, I'm from Chicago, south side of Chicago. I'm seeing murder, violence, you know what I'm saying, drugs, gang
Mm-hmm.
banging, I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm growing and I'm learning from that, right? But it wasn't until I got up out of there, out of that situation, and I um started surrounding myself. Because when you start surrounding yourself, again, this goes back to what I said about being uncomfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in 2020, we had did um hold on. In 2020 we had did I had joined a group, a financial literacy group, right? And the people in there they was dope, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I never been around those type of people ever. So in my head, I'm like, okay, how do I? But I said, how do I adjust to people like this? How do I adjust to my environment to these new people? They probably ain't never seen what I seen. They probably ain't never did what I did. They probably don't have, but none of that matters. None of that matter. You want to know why? Because when I
Mm-hmm.
asked God to put me in a a new position, I know that it does not matter as long as they respect me, who
It
I
don't
am as
matter
a
what it
person.
look like to you.
It don't matter. I couldn't ask that man to put me in a room with millionaires and billionaires and like-minded people, and we got to go through the same thing. No, we ain't got to go through the same thing, but we got to have the same mindset though. And that,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? So
It ain't about where you been, it's about where you going.
where I'm trying to go. And so ever since I did that, now these past 2 years, it's just been like, okay, elevation on top of elevation. But that's because I got out of the environment that I used to live in and the people that I used to be. You know what I'm saying? The
You
people that
got
I
out of
used to
that
be
lack
around.
mindset and you
Right.
got into I know it's something better out there for me, but I just got to figure out how I'm gonna get to it. That's all it is. Because everything is already written, planned out for us. It's just the fact of us acknowledging our own power and us saying, okay, now that I know that I got this power, how did I put it to use? And how do I make it work for me?
Yeah. So let me run it back and give an example. I got some friends, right? Um, I may not talk to them every day, but I still got some, you know, I'm from Chicago. I still got people out there. But I got some homies to the point where it's like they still run the block, they still do drugs, they still on, you know what I'm saying? And that's cool. But I see the potential in them, right? And that's my curse and that's my blessing. But I see it in
For
them,
both of us.
man, and I don't hate it,
Because it's like, I feel
but
like with both of us, with our conversation, I feel like we both passionate about where we came from and trying to get further in life, but then we see people that we grew up with or we see people that we love and it's like, damn, I wish you could jump on board, not for our health, but because we see the better in them. And we
mm-hmm.
know Chicago, really anywhere, because it's not about where you at, it's about your mindset. So we just
Yeah.
know like the streets and all that, that's not really where it's at. Success and healing is really the road that's gonna get you the way you need to be, but everybody is not on the same frequency to catch that.
You
So it's
remember what
like with
Doctor?
us,
Oh, I'm
it's
sorry.
no, I was just gonna say with us it's like a blessing and a curse because we see the good in people and we try to treat them as such, but if they don't hold themselves to a higher standard, how can we hold them to a higher standard?
Yep. Cause here's what I don't do. Here's what I'm not gonna do. And this is what I don't do. I don't, and I'm not going to force people to see the brighter. If you don't, first of all, the universe is already gonna grant you what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you want, it'll grant it to you. So it's what do you do after you you get that light and you see that, right? So
What do you do when you get what you prayed for? Do you abuse it or do you use it to your advantage for what you
yeah,
said that
so
you was gonna do?
yeah, so I would never. There are some people that's so far behind intellectually that I can't. Like you seen that post of Dr. Umar? He said they so far behind, you gotta kill them. But I ain't gonna kill nobody.
Mm-hmm.
But they're
You just
so
gotta dead the situation,
they're so you
dead the
have to
connection.
get them, leave them alone because this is not for them. They have not. They're still living in a 3D. They still living in this
Mm-hmm.
3D dimension. Some of them probably 2D. That's how you know. And I'm not here to talk about anybody's
And it's
intellectual
not.
state. I'm not here to do that. But what I'm saying is my energy would never go. I would never put my energy too much into showing people the way that don't want to see the way. That's what I'm not gonna
Because
do.
you have to want it for yourself. Somebody can't want it more than you
you
want it for
you
yourself.
can't keep saying, yeah, I want to get off the block, but every day you wake up and it's hard again because of that environment, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
hard. But if you a chosen one and you a God and you gonna, you know what I'm saying, you gonna be like that, you gotta know, like, I'm bigger than this, I'm better than this. I don't care how many homies you lost. Man, look, they is not living your life.
Man, especially coming from Chicago, that's I wouldn't even want to. I don't want to say everyday life because it is some beauty. It's beauty. It's a lot of beauty to Chicago. But when you get down to the nitty gritty of poverty-stricken neighborhoods, this is really the city that they plan on us to feel. So it's like when you
Yeah.
finally get the chance to get out of Chicago or even get your foot in the door to get on a different type of mindset or a different type of opportunities and all that. It's like you have to want it for yourself. You have to first notice these things that are
Mm-hmm.
coming into your life because a lot of times we'll get opportunities and we'll let them slip out of our hands because we so focused on other things.
Let me tell you
So,
something. Oh, I'm sorry. Girl, I'll be so passionate about
Grand
so I ain't really
Rising.
cut you off. But let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you. I tell everybody else in this dimension, in this universe, people, places, things, um, surroundings. This is nothing but distractions. And
Mm-hmm.
Earth is really the only tool. Cause if I feel like they know I feel, if I was to be living in another universe, another dimension, I don't think that the lessons would be this hard. But because we already here, it gotta be this hard. And so
Yeah.
you have to know, like, okay, I'm getting to my baby mama distraction. And I said this many times on my Facebook live before, and I'm gonna keep saying this. Um, a lot of these are just distractions. When people upset
Mm-hmm.
you, hold that grudge, it's distracting you because now you can't get up to mine and do what you're supposed to do because you so busy worried
Mm-hmm.
about Fifi over here. She she's a distraction. Let her go.
Okay.
Let her go. Right. And I have to keep reminding myself that too because it's some days when people make me so mad. Like, oh, I be wanting to take it. I
For
want to
real.
take it because I'm young. So that little side of me be wanting to gnaw back.
Your shadow be wanting to come out.
It be that sad in me that moon man. So I have to reel it back in and say, you know what? Focus on the bigger picture. Focus on the plan. Focus on, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's hard when you're trying to refocus because you just can't get off of that, right?
Cause it's like you
So,
want to elevate, you want to look past this shit, but then you gotta know like a lot of shit. I mean, a lot of stuff you gotta nip it in the bud and then move on instead of just being stuck in those feelings. Because it's okay for you to feel some type of way, but your action after you acknowledge these feelings is different.
mm,
Because
yeah,
one thing for you to be angry and you just F the world, F everybody, point fingers, projecting. But if you're angry and you're figuring out why you feel this way, then you know how to control it because you know, okay, it's worth it or it's not worth it. And I know I can just let it go because it's not worth it.
yeah, yeah,
Because a lot of times we be angry and we just say F everything. I'm going to
yeah,
say we because I have a habit of doing that. As soon as one little thing make me mad, it knocks me off square. Not too long because now I'm more self aware, but it knocks me off square and it's like, no, I can't let this happen.
yeah. I could see how that'll do that. Um, on my aspect, I'll go through my day and I'll just be like, first of all, how we talk to ourselves. Again, turning your anger to power. Mind you, if I had known what I had known then on, because I was always a good speller, right?
Hmm.
But I didn't know that spelling and affirmations is actually a power and a magic itself. So if
Hmm.
I had known, hey, even though I'm going through these trials and tribulations, I'm gonna wake up today and I'm gonna be great. My day, how much better can my day get? Right? Instead of saying, dang, what else gonna go wrong? The
So
universe
it's
will be like,
always something and
all right,
woo woo
cool.
woo.
All right, cool. You want to see what else can go wrong? And it'll go wrong. So how you speak upon yourself and how you talk to yourself during your hard times is kind of like you have to work on that. I'm not gonna get on
Hmm.
this live and make it seem like I'm not angry or that I don't have days where I feel, you know what I'm saying? I'm just
Is that some
righteous.
people are more
Yeah, I'm
aware
just
of what's
like
going on
I'm
around
just
them.
righteous. I'm just so righteous and holier than thou. No, I won't do that. But I'm going to give praise for myself every time because the woman that I was, and I'm only 23, but the woman that I was like probably 3 years ago, she could never.
Okay. All that
she could.
processing that's going out the window a couple
She
years
could never. She could never. No. So that's why I tell people just give yourself time. That's why when you ask, like, what would you say to your younger self? It'll be, give myself time, baby. We marinating. We marinate. Just let yourself marinate a little bit. It's okay.
And that's what I would tell my younger self too. Like, just take your time and don't rush into stuff because you're rushing into things. Like I used to when I was young, I used to always be like, I can't wait till I turn 18.
Hmm.
Baby, I'm 22, and I wish I could be 9 or something. I don't know because this ain't
Okay?
coming. But it's
This is
like,
ghetto.
okay, very much, very much ghetto.
This is
So it's
ghetto.
like I would just tell my younger self, like, just enjoy where you're at now. Because a lot of times we be wanting stuff or we ask for stuff and then we get it and it's like,
You
dang, I should
still
have
don't
waited.
feel it
Or
wasn't
you
for
still
you.
feel inadequate as to what you were searching for. So remember when we was talking that day about how a lot of times our mindset be so stuck on the goal itself instead of the feeling that comes with accomplishing that goal. So
Mm.
like,
That dopamine of I did it, so now I
yeah.
want to do more. Yeah.
Or the rush of even getting to that, the adrenaline of, okay, I wanted this and now I got it. And now the momentum is gone. So now you got what you asked for, but now you just sitting here and it's just dead weight. Instead of you enjoying where you are now, and then when you finally get to that point of getting what you want, then it's like, okay, I got everything I need. I'm cool now. It's no void that you're feeling because feelings are always going to be there. So if you're chasing the goal of success or you're chasing the goal of just being happy, period, you can get that anywhere. But if you're chasing the goal of, oh, I need a car, oh, I need a house, oh, I need this, oh, I need that, you get it, and then you're still not feeling fulfilled.
Yeah. So that kind of questions, that kind of that kind of man, that I could take that what you just said and go into like four different. But I ain't gonna do that. We're gonna say that for
We're gonna
part
say
two.
that for later.
We're gonna say that we're gonna let this marinate for part two. All of this is dropping on my YouTube channel. So if anybody missed what we said in the beginning, I'm gonna record this and I'm gonna put on my YouTube. My YouTube is also in my link. Click the link tree. Y'all know what to do. But as opposed to and as something that you said just stuck out. Whew, man. Um, as far as like the happy, right?
Chasing the high of the
Chasing.
material instead of the emotional.
And see, this is why I tell people because I honestly don't want to hurt anybody's feelings and I'm not trying to. That's the last thing I want. A lot of people a lot of people want to chase, like you said, and they are going to chase the materials, and that's okay because
The instant gratification.
yeah, but it's also okay because I'm gonna be honest with you. We living in a physical world. There's nothing else to do, right?
Yeah.
But what you also cannot do is that cannot be the only thing that you chase, right? I know a lot of times when I'm having my problems is because I'm not like I'm gonna be honest. I'm not financially where I want to be. I'm better. I'm better than where I used to be. Again, I'm still young. I'm still young.
Still
It ain't
growing,
like I'm.
still
It ain't like I'm. It
evolving.
ain't like I'm 40, 50, 60, and no. I'm still. I'm just leaving the nest.
Okay.
You know. But it was never with me. It was never about when I'm gonna get a new car, when I'm gonna get a new house, because none of that mattered. My whole focus when I was growing up was who am I gonna be to me, to other people, to self. So I never cared if oh she got a new Chanel bag, okay, that's cool, mommy. I
That's
like
fine.
that. Sauce it up, do you, baby? Sauce it up. For me, I don't. I know if I get a bag, okay, cool. What's next? I got a bag, so what? What does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna sit here and portray it like, oh, if somebody was to buy me a bag, I wouldn't care. Cause yeah, I would definitely like that.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, things are so much. It's deeper. It's it's deeper than it's deeper than the physical eye. Certain things are it's way it's open. If you know what I'm saying. I can't say what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying on this live. It's open if you know what I'm saying. So once that really started opening more, none of this really mattered, and it still don't. It still
That's
don't.
how I've been feeling like since I started my spiritual journey. I've noticed before, but now I'm really starting to understand more things. And it's like none of this really matters. None of this entertainment, none of these clothes, none of these cars, cribs, all that stuff. That stuff is disposable, basically. But some people are so stuck on I'm where I want to be because I got this and that. And then it's a lot of rich people. If you notice, it's a lot of rich people that's in these houses, cars, clothes, cribs, got everything they want, and they're still not where they want to be spiritually because it's still a void. Or because they don't have the understanding of, okay, now I have all this. Now I got to get myself together. Or getting yourself together first and then worry about everything else coming afterwards, the material or the instant gratification, period. So my biggest thing was always, okay, I got this, I got that. I'm at this place that I want to be, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, it's still something missing.
Mhm.
It's still some things that are not clear to me. It's still some things that are, as far as like understanding how to get through certain things, understanding how to not let certain things get to me, because that used to be my biggest thing. Like,
Mhm.
when I used to go through stuff, it used to take a real hard hit on me. And it's like, how I'm going to bounce back from this? or how am I going to change perspective to see things in a different way? Because a lot of times we'll be going through things and we'll think it's the most terrible thing in the world when really this is just the tip of
It's
the
a lesson.
iceberg.
It's a lesson.
It's a lesson. So what I learned going through things is like I said earlier, instead of looking at life as why is this happening to me, I start to look at things as like why is this happening for me? Like what is this trying to teach me? What is this trying to connect me to? Because a lot of times I was noticing I was going through things and this was pushing me towards what I was asking for. Like how you said, when you pray for certain things or you manifest certain things, you finna start going through the motions, but it's not to knock you off your square. It's to one, test you to see if you really want what you asking for and see if you're ready for it. And then two, to get you where you need to be. Because nothing, magic is real, but it's not magic as to where it's just going poof alakazam right in your face. And you going to wake up tomorrow and everything you asked for. You have to go through certain trials and tribulations so that when you get on the other side, you can know like, okay, I had to learn certain things or I had to go through certain things so that I won't mishandle what I asked for.
Mm, mm, mm. That part. So you don't mishandle it.
So you don't
That part.
mishandle it. Because, like I said, a lot of times we'll be manifesting stuff out of a place of hurt and anger. Like, oh, I can't wait until I get this so I won't feel this way no more. But then you will get what you asked for and you so hurt or you so angry about the past or the fact that you had to wait this long to get this and now you're mishandling what you asked for.
Mm. So
Or
that
you missed the opportunity that you needed because you so stuck on something else. So you missed the opportunity and the thing that you wanted passed you by.
mm. So in that whole aspect, I think again, I think it's important to really, if a lot of y'all don't know what it like, what y'all do know what self awareness is, right?
Mm.
Um, because I see this been floating around so much. They get self awareness confused with like self love, and so I made that post the other day, and how it was selfish. But the things that you said is actually being self aware. When you're going through these situations and these trials and tribulations, like I said, you have to know, like, why am I going through this? And I don't listen. This is what I mean by another example of turning my frustrations into my power. Because when you go through things, instead of asking, well, why this happening to me? Why not you?
Mm-hmm.
Why not you?
What I say on the
Because
phone
I
today,
knew.
you can't
Hold on.
complain about having too much on your plate when the plan was to eat.
Exactly, but it's a little bit deeper than that. That too, but it's also deeper than that. Why not you? Because some people are actually chosen people. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, so when you know, like I said, like I don't even, like I'll be upset for 2 seconds, but I know like I'm chosen. I know that I have to go through this because this is not going to be easy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this, my life is never going to be easy. It's, so I already knew that, and I took that, I'm running with it. So now when stuff happens, it's kind of like, okay, this is not gonna be easy for me. I know the route. I'm tired, and it's days where I do get tired, but it's like, all right, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm a chosen one. I'm destined for XYZ, so I have to go XYZ. And the only way that I was able to know that is through self awareness and going through my energy. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So we speaking on energy. We speaking like, what are you doing to find yourself? Like, what are you doing productively? Because you can do anything to find yourself, but that don't mean it's good. But what are you doing
That don't
productive?
mean it's working.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
to find yourself. Like for me, it's not always. For me, it's not always just people think, oh, just meditating. Like to me, my meditation is listening to my music or doing yoga or um, just doing anything that you love and that you like. You know,
Anything that works for
that's
you
finding.
specifically.
Yeah, and that within that, that's finding, that's God like to me when you can go inside of you, because that's really what you're supposed to be doing, going inside
Mm-hmm.
of you to find you and find that purpose, find that self awareness. So when things like this do happen around in your life, you like, man, you don't be sitting in the bed depressed. All you be like, all right, I know why this finna happen. because of
Mm-hmm.
XYZ. You know what I'm saying? Or man, it may be because of, I asked for XYZ and I have to see this
And
all the
then, not to cut you off, I was gonna say it's one thing to be self-aware, but it's another thing to be aware of what's going on around you too. Because a lot of
hmm
times, I've met some people who will tell me to my face like they know exactly what's going on, they know what they're doing, they know how they should go about things, but they just don't know the right time. Like that's the thing. People always say the right time. Like I know what I'm supposed to
There's
do, I
no
know
such
how
thing
I'm
as
gonna do it,
there's no
but
such thing
the
as
right
right
time.
time.
Exactly, and that's what I say. It's no such thing as the right time. You just have to be in sync with the universe because a lot of times you can have you all together, but if you're not paying attention to the signs and the signals that's going on, like how you said, okay, this is going on, but I know exactly what's going to happen, why it's going on, or what's going to happen after this that's leading up to it. So it's like a lot of times we could be aware of ourselves and what we got going on, or it's easy to be aware of somebody else. Well, are you aware of what's taking place around you or what shifts are happening so that you can get to where you need to be?
Mm, mm, yeah. So y'all, we are about to hold on.
Mm-hmm.
My bad, y'all. We are about to cut this. It's been our time. It's been our time. Me and Kate are we're gonna come back with y'all. This is part two. Thank you to everybody that brought tickets initially.
Thank
Um,
you.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. That's what I wanted to say.
Ooh,
Because this is my first time doing something like this, and I really enjoyed it.
yeah, this is
Might
my
have some
first time
technical
doing somebody.
difficulties, but that's okay.
Girl, it's okay. I'm gonna be honest. This is my first time doing an event with anybody else besides me. Cause a lot of people, people talk about stuff. It's all right.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all, we're gonna cut this short. If y'all want to get to know more or see more, yeah, click the link in my YouTube.